Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Rachel Klein and I will be your presenter here for the next 20 minutes. Today we are going to be discussing handling duplicate givers. This is a common situation that people have occurring when you have multiple people entering people into the Truth Windows program, or if someone comes once, then they don't come back, and then they come again, so they get entered for the second time without realizing that's the case. So we're going to be talking about how to clean that up. And this is important to do now in the new version 22, because we do have a feature available that's going to allow you to move the giving off of the duplicate, if that's the case, and then put that giving onto the giver that you're going to keep and delete that duplicate that had the giving on it at one point in time, which is something you haven't been able to do in the past, but you can in our version 22. So that is what I want to walk you through today. Again, it's just me. I'm the only tech here today. I am working from home, so if my screen kind of shifts a little bit on you or grays out at one point in time, it will pop back. But I'm streaming into my work computer at the office, so bear with me. If you would, just be patient with me while I try to get my screens to work the best way that I can for the presentation today. Also, feel free to ask questions. Everyone will stay muted like usual, but you can type your question in the question section on the GoToWebinar toolbar, and I will be happy to answer those at the end. I don't like to answer the questions while I'm presenting, because when I'm trying to read and talk to you guys, I get myself all mixed up. So I actually have that shrinked away or minimized so I can't even see them. The questions, but I will look at them once I'm done with the presentation, and we'll go over questions then. Also, one more thing, attached to the GoToWebinar toolbar is the document that I'm using today as my outline. It's in the handout section. Feel free to print that off if you wish. You can also find it out on our website at our support center. You just type in handling duplicates, or it's even one right at the top, because this is a brand new document that we just got done and uploaded. But you'll be able to print it off, pass it around for reference later, or share it with anyone that might need it. All right, let's get started. So one of the best screens to locate a duplicate is going to be in the donation screen. The Manage Givers window in here is really handy to show you who's who. This list is going to be sorted in alphabetical order when you first come in here. So this is a great way to kind of scroll through the list, see if you have any duplicates, find some that you might be unaware of. But the example from the document is working with a James Kildare. So I'm going to go ahead and type in his last name, and as you can see in my search results, I am showing 3 different versions of James. So if we reference them in the list here, we have a James Kildare with a number 13, we have a James with a number 78, and then we have a James with a giver number 261. So the same individual has been put in here 3 times. All right, so now that we've found the duplicates, next important thing is going to be to figure out where they are in the program, and then also decide which one of these we're going to keep. So if we reference their last name column here, you can see that there's one with a V, there's one without a letter after their last name, and then there's also one with a D after their name. So the V tells us that they're from the visitors. So V is a category that is being pulled over from the membership module. So with the V, we know that that version of James is coming from membership and categorized as a visitor. Now the one below that, the one that's highlighted, this is James without a V after his name or without a D. And we know from the membership module, if they don't have a V or a D, then they are considered a member. So we will find this version of James over in membership as a member category. And then the one below that, the James with the D, This one also has the donations giver box checked. That's telling us that they're considered a donations giver within the Church Windows program. So this record is not coming from membership. It was entered right here in the donations module. All right. Now, typically when you're cleaning up duplicates, especially if this person is considered a member within the church or even a visitor, we're not going to keep the donations giver version, so the one with the D. You would want to use a donations giver or create someone as a donations giver if it's a record that you don't need over in the membership module. But for this example, James is a member of our church, so we want to keep the membership version of him. So let's actually go over into membership, and I want to poke around over in there and see what information we have on James. So now I'm going into membership, and I'm going into people, and I'm going to use my handy little person lookup up here, and I'm just going to type in his last name. And as I type, you can see we have two results. We have a visitor version, which is exactly like what we saw over in donations, and then we have the one without the V, which is the member. And as you can see here, just at a glance, this first one with the V doesn't have an address after it. So let's go look at that one first. So as you can see, this record's for James. He's a visitor. Other than him having his directory report order field filled in here as primary, there is no useful information on this record. Okay, so this is probably one we're not going to want to keep. Now, if I come back up here to person lookup and I go to the other James, the one without the V, the one I know is a member, you can see there is a lot of information here on this version of James. We have his baptism, confirmation, membership date. We also have an address, phone number. His age is filled in because he has a birthday. Lots of good information here. All right. So from comparing those two records, we're going to decide to keep the one that has all of the good information on it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and click in here after his first name, and I'm going to put a little star after his name. This is a great tool to use while you're cleaning up duplicates, so you are able to tell who's who. Sometimes over in donations, say if you're cleaning up 3 membership records, the same person got put in as a member 3 times, it'll be hard to tell which one is a good one or the one you're going to keep. So to tell them apart, we're going to put a little asterisk in here after James's first name, and that's going to be the tool to tell us this is the good one, this is the one we want to keep. So now that that star is in there, I'm going to hit save and update that record. Okay. So now that we know who's the good one, or who is the good record, the one we're going to keep, and now the other duplicates that we're going to clean up and remove, we're now going to go back over into the donations module to start that process. Okay. So in version 22, we have a new feature up here. If you go to Givers, Transfer Donations. Now, Transfer Donations has been around for a long time. We've always had the ability to move giving off of one giver and put it to another one. But what is new about this screen is right here in the middle, there's a checkbox. It says these 2 givers are the same person, duplicate records. So anytime you are cleaning up a duplicate, before you do that transfer to move giving off of the duplicate to the one you're keeping, you want to make sure you check that box so the program knows this is a duplicate cleanup. Okay? And the reason why it's important for the program to know who the duplicate is because instead of creating reversing transactions on the from giver, the duplicate, it's simply going to remove the transaction history when you transfer that giving over. By removing that transaction history, the program will then allow you to delete that duplicate. Okay? So let's walk through it if it's not quite clear for you yet. So you can see an example. So what I'm going to do to giver, actually I'm going to change my date range first. I want to make sure I include all giving for these people because they can't have any transactions on them if I want to delete them. I'm just going back to 2010. If you know, hey, this person would have started coming 2 years ago, you can go back 2 years. If you know it's just in 2020 so far, you don't need to change your year. But make sure you're adjusting your date range accordingly, okay? Now, my from giver. This is going to be one of the Jameses that's a duplicate that I'm cleaning up or taking giving off of, okay? So I'm going to type in the last name. Here's the one with the star. That's the good one. That's the one I'm transferring everything to. So I don't want to select that as the from giver. I'm going to go ahead and go with the visitor version first. As I select him, I see the giving that has been posted to this version of James. I'm going to go over here to the right, the to giver, and I'm looking for my James with the asterisk because this is the good one. This is the one we're keeping, okay? And if that version has any giving, you're going to see that as well. Right? Now, most important part with the duplicate cleanup now, I'm going to check this box. It says these two givers are the same person, right? I now have that checked. I'm going to hit the transfer button. And it's going to ask you, are you sure James with the V and James with the asterisk are the same person and that you want to transfer the selected giving? Yes, I'm sure they're the same person. Yes, I want to transfer the giving, so I'm going to say yes. And it's going to tell me the giver was changed on selected donation, so I'm going to say okay. So now there's no more giving on this version of James. It's all over here on the good version, or the version we're keeping. All right, now I'm going back over to the left. And I'm looking for the donations giver version of James. This is that other duplicate. This is the one that just had the D after their name. And as you can see, I have some giving going back several years. So I'm glad I extended or pushed out my start date so I could get all of these gifts as well. Again, I have the correct giver on the right, the James with the asterisk. He's my to giver. I still have my checkbox selected, letting the program know this is a duplicate cleanup, and I'm going to hit transfer. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. So I'm going to say yes to that, and it's going to just give me the prompt that they've been changed. Okay. Now, keep in mind, if you ever go to search for someone over here on the from giver side and you aren't able to find that duplicate, that is because that person that you're looking for doesn't have any giving in the date range that you've put in the top, okay? So if I would have left this, say, at 2020, and I would have searched for someone, if I can't find them over here on the left, that means they don't have any giving within that date range. So only people that have giving to move are going to show up in the from giver box here on the left, okay? All right, so now I can move on to page 3 in my document because I've moved all of my giving to the right person. Something we're not going to go over, but I want to touch on. If you are a pledging church, not all of our customers are, but if you are a pledging church, you would also need to be mindful of pledges, okay, and make sure you get the pledging on the correct version of the version of this person that you're going to keep, okay? And you would simply go up into the pledges screen up here at the top, and you would need to remove the pledge off the duplicate and then re-enter it to the good record of the one that you're keeping. Okay. All right, so let's talk about deleting. So in past versions, again, when you did the transfer feature, you weren't able to delete them because it had that reversal when you did the transfer. By checking that box, that simply removes or deletes the transaction history off of that duplicate record that we're cleaning up, which then, since there are no transactions, the program will allow you to delete that person. All right, so I'm going to show you how to delete the donations giver first. So I'm going to go back into Manage Givers, and I'm going to look for the donations giver version of James, which is right here. And with him highlighted, I can hit the delete button down here. All right. Now keep in mind he does have a giver number. If I delete this, this removes this number off James and makes it available again from the start date of when James has had that number. All right. So you don't have to go in and remove the number first and then delete him. You can simply delete the James here, and then that will free up the number as well. So I'm going to hit delete. And the program's going to ask me, are you sure? So make sure you're sure you're getting the right version of the person, and you're going to say yes. Now that record is gone. That is permanent. If you delete a giver, you're not getting them back unless you re-enter them. Okay? But with a duplicate, that's our goal. So we've gotten rid of the D version of James, you can see here. Okay? Now, we still have the visitor version, the one that we moved the giving off of as well. To clean up this record, because it's being pulled from membership, we have to go over to the membership module. So let me minimize this, and we're back in membership. So now I'm going up to the person lookup, and I'm looking for James with the V. Again, this is a record that doesn't have any useful information on it. It's all on the other one, so I want to get rid of this one. I want to delete this record. To do so, all you have to do is come up here, hit the delete individual button. You're going to get a big scary message. It just wants to make sure you're sure. If you're sure, you check this box here. Click here to confirm that you still want to delete this individual. I'm going to say yes. So now the individual is gone. I still have my household. I need to hit delete family to confirm my family. I want deleted. Yes. Okay. So now it just takes me back to my first record of the alphabet, which is Miss Nina, which is fine. Now, if I go up here and I go into my person lookup and I look for James, now I only have the one James record, which is exactly what I want. All the giving is in the right spot because I did my transfers. And now I can come in here and I can get rid of that asterisk and I can save it. And now I'm left with my good record for James. Okay. Now, one thing I do want to touch on, giver numbers. If we were to find, let me get back to donations here, that this record that we are left with James, now that we just have the one, he currently has giver number 78. If that's the number he's supposed to have, you're done. You've cleaned up your duplicates. You don't have anything else to worry about. If you find that you wanted James to have, say, number 261 that was on that donations giver, or if you wanted him to have that number 13 that was on the visitor, very simple to go in and reassign that number to him. I want to show you how to do that real quick as well. I'm going to close Manage Givers. And I'm going to go up to Manage Numbers up here at the top. Manage Numbers is really the easiest screen when you're working with changing around giver numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for James in the list here. Here he is. And I want to change his number. So I'm going to come over here to the right, and I'm just going to hit the little minus sign here. And I want to delete giver number 78. I don't want him to have it anymore. Giving is attached to the name, not the number, so you're not going to be dumping or removing any giving by changing a number. So I'm going to say OK. And now I'm going to come back up to my giver search box, and I'm going to hit my little Add New Number button here. And I want to give James, let's give him 261, and I want it to start the first of this year. Number's been added. I'm going to say OK. And now James has number 261.